Okay, before you jump on me, I don't have any Zelda footage. I've only played the game for a few minutes. My kids played on the Nintendo Switch. They begged me to try to help them solve some puzzles, and the puzzles stumped me. And I'm like, guys, I'm not really into this game, and I don't really know. The Nintendo 64 days and the other Nintendo days that I played, basically Super Nintendo, were Mario and Mortal Kombat. That's pretty much all I played on those consoles. So forgive me if I'm not a big Zelda fan. However, I want to talk about the fact that within the reviews right now, we do have one review that is a 6 out of a 10. I was going to go ahead and do a full blown reading on video. In fact, I made a whole video while I was reading through it, but I kind of got bored and tired. And I thought this would be really interesting to talk a little bit about because at the end of the day, though, I mean, think about this. Reviewers usually have, varying opinions about things, but the scoring is kind of where I think, okay, this is kind of weird. Now, one thing about game, development, game mechanics, game design, and the way reviewers actually present games, and I'm not saying beat on this reviewer, by the way. Everyone's got it's their opinion. You can do whatever you want with it. You can throw it away. I threw away all the, reviews of Gotham Knights. Almost every single one of them. I squeezed it through in the trash because to me, a lot of those reviewers seem like they couldn't be bothered to actually deal with the game. They just thought Arkham, no, Arkham, no, Arkham. If it's not Arkham, no, Arkham. So, it was kind of weird in my opinion. And what I'm seeing though, even with the reviews that are scoring this game high, they still seem to continue to have, those shades of, okay, what is this game looking like at this point in time, especially in comparison with the very first Zelda game. And I think that's fair. I think at the end of the day, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom will be judged in light of Breath of the Wild. This is just a natural progression because there is a previous title that actually set the stage for what was to be expected. And I think this is something that, here in the gaming community, a lot is going to have to be, looked into. Now, with this review, though, which I did read for the most part, I think I read about 2/3 of it. I wish the reviewers would actually go ahead and just, allow for us to be able to see the nitty gritty, the nuts and bolts of what it is that they're saying. So let's go ahead and just read their synopsis. That's pretty much it. And then we'll look at other synopses that are in the 80s, because I think this review, in my opinion, for what I read, should have been an 80. This is one of those reviews where it seemed like they wanted to be a little edgy, but whatever. If you've yet to step foot into the open world of Hyrule, Tears of the Kingdom is the best way to experience it, with just enough new ground to keep things interesting. But if you didn't gel with the 27 release, the story alone might not be worth the second attempt. I mean, obviously, but then 60. Is the game broken? Is it buggy? What are the issues other than you were bored? Because this is basically what I see that this is. Let's look at some of the 80 ones. A terrific Breath of the Wild follow-up with some brilliant new systems, amazing views, and more dungeon-type spaces, plus a slightly deadening emphasis on gathering resources. Yikes. So basically too much. Because this person basically said the same thing. Some of the tasks were not really solid. Eurogamer Poland. It's no secret that Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was made because Nintendo had a lot of additional content and mechanics they didn't manage to fit in the previous game. This is a good thing. What we get in the sequel is a direct continuation of the story on a familiar map, but the new skills and interactions save us from feeling that we're playing the same thing. 80? IGN Portugal. A worthy The Legend of Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom, is an adventure that spans across time, good and evil, and tells exciting stories, yet still manages to fall victim of mechanisms old and new that deprive it of the refreshing addition to the series its predecessor was. Despite this, it is still a title that is here to stay. So basically, it's more of the same thing. 80. Wow. I thought gamers usually like for, games to have that if it ain't broke, don't fix it type, frame of mind. But these are reviewers. So when gamers start to give their scores, it'll be interesting to see. Let's read another 81. NME. Tears of the Kingdom plays it safe, which is a shame for the follow-up to the least safe Zelda in decades. Still, it's hard to complain too much about getting more of one of the all-time greats, and there are enough tweaks to make it feel worth playing all over again. 80. Yikes. I'm not seeing any problems in regard to making a sequel that the reviewers are highlighting other than, it's just more of the same thing. But gamers, on the other hand, usually like more of the same thing. I mean, I covered Gotham Knights, and everybody swore that they should have done a lot of things like the Arkham games. More of the same thing. But then when you make a ballsy move, sometimes reviewers may chide you, or sometimes you may win. So, man, this is a mess. Yikes. Anyways, I really don't know what to say. It just says a sequel that reinvents. Let's look at 100. A sequel that reinvents, improves, and expands one of the most important masterpieces in the gaming industry to become the best adventurer ever made. That's Elden Ring, Vandal. Sorry, but I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, I'm sure you've seen enough. Now it's time for you to go play the game and for you to make up your mind. I'm still trying to decide if I want to bother with it, because it's not something that, I would play day one. So I might want to wait up a little bit in order for me to see how things go. But it's just interesting overall to see how, a lot of people perceive a sequel that is a direct successor of a very, very viable game. And when you make things similar, which is, in my opinion, something that, allows for you to be able to expand upon your story and do all those things in a very good way by keeping mechanics to a minimum, to a minimum anyways, in the way you implement new things, it can bite you. But these are review scores. Again, user scores usually are the most important anyways. In my mind, that's users who actually did play and buy the game. I have to go to maybe I don't know where you're going to go see reviews that are not going to be tainted anyways, but it is what it is. We'll see how things progress. We'll see how things proceed. Thanks so much for watching. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.